All right. Hello and welcome to Raven's Arcana. I am Raven. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be your chakra tarot reading. So we'll pull one card for each one of the chakras. Your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown chakra. Hope everyone is doing well and hanging in there. This will be a timeless reading. So not bound to any day, week, month, or year. If you find the reading, then it's probably going to be applicable for you. All right, and let's get started. So we have the Emperor for the root chakra. We have the Ace of Pentacles for our sacral chakra. We have the Queen of Wands for our solar plexus chakra. We have the World for our heart chakra. We have the Page of Wands for our throat chakra. We have the Eight of Cups for our third eye chakra. And then we end with the Ace of Cups for our crown chakra. All right, so let's start at the root and go up to the crown. So to make sure that you are balancing and realigning every one of your chakras, we want to get some messages from the cards about how you can either continue to do that or realign, right? So with the root chakra, we have the Emperor. This is a great card for that. So that's that Mars energy, right? So that spark. And I think you are connected with your root chakra. I think that you have ultimate authority over your grounding. I don't think you're letting any outside influence really affect your root chakra. So with that Mars energy, you are very instinctual, you are very strong, powerful, and I think you take the time to actually ground yourself. So moving on to your sacral chakra, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So you have a little bit of work to do on the sacral chakra. So that's your desire, your passion. And I think you actually have the potential to manifest. And I think you're actually focusing on some different aspects of your life to find, right? You have the grounding, but to find that desire and that passion. And I think it has to do for life. And I think it might have to do for a certain person. And I think you might be overstimulated. We want to balance all of these chakras, balance all of our aspects of our psyche, of our person in this existence. And I think you might have misplaced or misguided kind of desire in your life. And I think this is actually related to physical attraction at this point. So sensuality, sexuality. And you're looking for that. So if we're looking at our solar plexus chakra, that drive, right? We have the Queen of Wands. Now, we have a very passionate card. We were looking for that spark and that fire here. So continue to work on that solar plexus chakra. I think that you have that open and that is aligned. I think that you have the drive, the will, the courage, the bravery, and possibly you're actually working on opening up the sacral chakra. Perhaps you've found that you don't have a whole lot of passion for life and for people at the moment. Your grounding will help, but you definitely have the willpower, right? You definitely have that go get it attitude. Now let's look at your heart chakra. So we have the world here, and I think you're existing inside the rules that the world has set out for you, right? For all of us in society. So there's some societal impacts on your life that are actually governing over your passion and your desire. I don't know if your heart is in the right place at the moment. I don't know if you are finding love in the world, loving yourself enough. You know, we always talk about filling a void. And, you know, that sacral chakra, that is primal energy. That is primal instinct desire. We talked about instinctual with the root. And I think there's some external influence on here. And it could be things that are expected of you to stay within the lines. You know, with your heart, you always want to draw outside the lines. You want to love in the way you love. So I think there's an aspect of your emotions and the way that you gather people around you or bring people into your inner circle that is probably trying to fill a void. And that's misplaced passion and desire based on external influences and probably how you were raised. Maybe not showing emotion. Maybe you were told to keep your emotions in check, be strong. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't let them see you cry. And I think you need to get back to experiencing the whole spectrum of emotion, right? Now, moving on to your throat chakra, we have the Page of Wands here. Now, I think you are very, very passionate. And I think you might say things that might turn other people off. I think you come from, right, that divine spark, your energy and your willpower. And I think there might be something at play here with the ego. And I think that's from conditioning. So I think you come from a pure place with your communicative ability, but it's just not coming through in a loving manner. And so your heart chakra is actually affecting the way that you communicate to others, especially in relationships. You have that quick fire, if you will, just say what's always on your mind. And I don't think you're thinking through everything that comes out of your mouth and probably not expressing how you really feel to others, which goes back to your sacral chakra. So you're not expressing that passion, that desire accurately enough to people you want to hold close to you, whether it be friends, family, or romantic partners. And I think because of that, you're once again trying to fill a void here, and it's misplaced. It's not pure. Everything about your heart and what you're trying to do, you're attempting to come from a pure place, but I think there's some jaded emotions in here. And I really do think it's because of the way you were raised and the environment. And once again, maybe you were told, you know, you keep your emotions inside, you always stay strong, you project strength into the world. And that projection, the way you communicate, is based on how, you know, you were influenced by those rules, by those regulations set, right? And I think that came from family. So work on your communication. Figure out what you really, really want, what you really find pleasure in. And once again, I think this is talking about relationships. You know, your friends, your family. And everyone grows. Everyone goes through a process of change. Even, let's say, your parents were the ones that were influencing you, and you mimicked your mother and your father's behavior, or even siblings. It could be cousins, grandparents, it could be anyone in your family, but that was kind of a conditioning that you have taken with you, and it's affecting your relationships. Now, moving on to your third eye, we see the 8 of chalices, or the 8 of cups. So this is your intuitive self, your wisdom that you should be taking forward. And the 8 of cups is telling you to walk away. And I think it's walking away from what would be conventional or traditional wisdom gathered from those experiences, possibly in your childhood, early adulthood, and not really tapping in to how you really feel. Using that intuitive nature, you're going back to those rules, those regulations that were set forth, and it was just conversations, experiences, observing how others act that were around you. And you really need to tap in to your intuitive self and walk away from the things that are negatively affecting your chakras and not having them aligned and open. There are times when our chakras are too open and they're not balanced. And I think that's the key here to focus on with the communication. I think there's just so much imbalance with this being so open, with this being kind of closed, your heart, right? So if we're thinking of the chakras as circular, then your communications over here in your heart chakra is a little bit smaller because you're not tapping into all of the emotions that are actually your own. And so if we move on to your crown chakra, we see the Ace of Chalices, or the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is that potential for new beginnings as it relates to emotion. And we know your crown chakra is what kind of connects you to the collective, to spirit, to things that are bigger than you. And I think this is telling you that you need to start working on your emotions, where they come from, where you learned how to express them. And you're going to be able, once you do that, to actually stop trying to fill the void with negative aspects that you learned through conditioning, I think. And I think it was inadvertent. But I do think some of it was, this is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to feel. You don't want anyone perceiving you as, all over the place. Well, that's what it's all about. In this existence, it's to experience the whole spectrum of emotions. And it's okay for that pendulum to swing back and forth, as long as you manage it. And I think perhaps you've been existing in a small portion of the spectrum, not allowing that fluid rhythm. But you're either over here, or in the middle, where you're either not experiencing enough of it for it to feed your emotional part of your soul, or, you have that, when we talked about the fire from the Page of Wands, that just spark, you're only over here, or you're on the other end of that spectrum, right? So it's not allowing the full swing to go through. It's okay to cry at, sad movies. It's okay to feel emotional about a song. It's okay to talk to those that we surround ourselves about our real, true feelings. Connecting, right, with the collective on an emotional level. So I think your grounding is pretty solid. And it all kind of starts there. I think you're starting to work through this and realize it. But perhaps with the Emperor and with that Mars energy, we talked about not being intuitive. I think your instincts are in the right spot. I think you are aware that there is a misalignment, that there's a need to refocus. And I think you've already started working on it. And I think that's why you have a strong grounding, with your root chakra. I also think that with your solar plexus, you have the will to continue. You have the bravery, the courage, and that ultimate potential to get it in line. So these two are great cards. But there's some work to be done on that, that sacral part. I really think you need to focus on it. And I think it starts there. So focus on what you really want, what you find pleasure in. And we're not just talking about physical pleasure. We're talking about emotional, mental, stimulation, and spiritual, right? And when we talk about spiritual, it doesn't have to be religious or anything like that. Your spirit, right, your soul, is kind of what feeds the whole purpose of us being here. So figure out what you really want, what you desire, what you want to get out of relationships and experiences. Don't be afraid of expressing yourself the way that feels right. Be brave. Tell people how you feel. Know what you want. Communicate in a manner that you're expressing that emotion that you feel inside about them or what you're looking for. Obviously, be honest. But first, be honest with yourself. And then walk away from the conditioning that I would imagine took a long time to kind of be ingrained into your psyche. And use that intuitive nature, that third eye, to recognize what you actually feel, what you actually think about a person or a situation. And step away from any blockages in there from your past. And you have that ultimate potential to reconnect. And it's reconnecting yourself with that solid foundation that you're working on and realigning everything so that not only in relationships with your family, but also with friends, romantic partners, acquaintances, colleagues, I think it'll all start to balance out and come together. So there's a little bit of work to do. Going beneath the surface, figuring out what was kind of actually valid that you learned along the way, and then what was actually kind of programming and conditioning about how to feel, how to express yourself, and what you really want. All right, folks, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you sticking around. And if you like the video, give it a like. If you're not subscribed and you enjoy the content, please subscribe, hit the notification bell to get alerts when I release new readings, new material. And as always, take care of yourself and have an amazing day.